So wanted to welcome two folks from our European community, Krisztián and Lóránt from Amadeus, who had the really nice opportunity to sit down with, as I was saying at the beginning. We connected not necessarily during the event, but at the drinks event afterwards, sitting and talking about where all this is going, which is another great reason to come in person to these things. So wanted to pass the two of you to share how you're doing your ecosystem of both tooling and homegrown tools.
Thank you very much, JR. And it's a really, really nice introduction, and we are excited to be here. My name is Krisztián Borbély. I'm in Amadeus responsible in the platform unit from the platform business management, which entails our relationship between the platform and all the business units, as well as FinOps and service insights globally. And I'm here with Lóránt, who is head of FinOps Engineering in Amadeus. Well, Amadeus, I mean, most of you guys probably have not heard about Amadeus. We are a B2B company, but I would bet that most of you have used Amadeus in the last 12 months. Why? Well, we are really behind most of the journey of this planet. So basically, we are traveling the global travel ecosystem, and we have a lot of airlines and all the other customers, as you can see it. Why it is relevant in the FinOps context? It's because it's quite a noticeable operations we have. You see some numbers there. So today we are still mainly operate from our own data centers, but it's quite a sizable operations, and there's a lot of complexity, which is also leading some of the decisions we made, which we will share with you on how we are seeing the FinOps ecosystem. And I deliberately don't use the word tool, but you can use it, as we also heard it this before. It's really, we see it as a tooling ecosystem. And then we can go to the next slide, where I will start sharing a little bit on our journey before Lóránt is really doing the deep dive on the tool itself and the ecosystem. So we started with the cloud quite a few years back. What is quite specific for Amadeus is when you see something which is, say, Amadeus Cloud Services. So we do deploy our technical platform on top of the cloud providers. We are also multi-cloud provider, but we're having our own platform, which we deploy technically, so OpenShift, Kubernetes, but it's a lot of other things around observability, about different toolings around where we deploy all our other applications. And since we talk about travel, you as a traveler, you can imagine that there are a lot of different products and services and touch points. So we have a lot of applications, 400 plus, sitting on those 60,000 plus VMs. But when we look at from a business perspective, where we are charging our cost to the business units, and they want to know the cost per product, there is a lot of many-to-many relationship. So imagine the cloud provider infrastructure, then we have a platform on it, which limits a bit the visibility which we can get from the cloud providers in terms of what is running inside our own platform. And then you have a large number of applications and middlewares and components which contribute to different business products in a many-to-many relationship. So it's definitely quite a key importance for us to be able to allocate those costs and show it accurately to the users. And as part of this allocation, actually, this is something which we can go back just for a second, JR, thanks. As part of the allocation, this is where we decided that we open source that, so we will make that available for the community. And basically what we are going to see today is what we have live. So this is the Amadeus FinOps Data Lake and Application Launch. So we went live, we see how it works, and this is why we wanted to share with you guys. So now we can go to the next slide, and I hand over to Lóránt.
Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. So my name is Lóránt Kiss, and I'm FinOps Engineering Manager for Amadeus, responsible to bring about the FinOps ecosystem tooling. And today I brought you actually 4 pieces of content, 2 of them more theoretical, 2 of them more practical. So the 2 theoretical ones are actually from the very slide deck I used to discuss with our top management the FinOps concepts. So it is about our vision, which you see already on the screen, and about our strategy. And the 2 other pieces of content is more deep dive on our allocation process, as well as screenshots from our tool. So starting with the ecosystem vision, at the center of this vision, you see application and product focus. So what does this mean? It actually means that in most conversations today, people use the cloud provider terms like subscription, project, or account when they talk about the cloud. And in reality, in our business, people both on the engineering and business side understand much more the internal products and applications. So we said this should be actually the first-class citizen of our tooling. This should be the main dimension we slice and dice the data on, or we access from the menu. And around this central thought, you see 6 other cornerstones. Day one tagging, very simple. You can actually let people not do tagging or do crappy tagging and try to fix this problem after the fact by grouping and trying to fix, or you can take an approach with automation to make sure that things get in the cloud for the first day, and also they stay healthy quality by human and machine readable tagging policies, as well as quality checks and follow-up. On the top right, you see unit economics efficiency. I think this is something that is very familiar to this audience. So beside your total cost, you need to consider your business volumes, and so you can calculate your unit economics efficiency. And I'm very happy that in the second edition of the Cloud FinOps book, actually, this made it from a nirvana state to a more main body content. An addition here is actually, it's interesting to look at the contribution of your metrics to the profit and the fixed cost. Going further to the top left, blue metered shared cost allocation, I need to clarify here that this is not the shared cost that is directly in the bill, and we have difficulties to allocate it, for example, typically network or security costs. But this is more about the complexity. Chris mentioned that we have multiple layers of applications in Amadeus. We have platform services, and in turn, we have business applications. And to be able to track on a metered basis this cost flow, we aimed for this cornerstone. Moving on to the green bottom left, improved distributed forecasting. I mean, forecasting is often a topic that people think simply of. They take the past data, they put a machine learning algorithm on top of it, project it for the future, and your forecast is ready. It might be a fairly good quality for the next month or few months, but in reality, it's much better if your forecast, especially for a bit longer term, is driven by your business input. The most knowledge in an organization typically is in the business units with product managers who can anticipate customers onboarding your business. And so these business volumes can drive your data and can be translated to cloud forecast numbers. On the bottom right, you see open data leverage. I think it's very good if you own your data, if you can load your data to in-memory databases to fast report on it, and if you can mix it with your business data so you get the most benefit from it. And on the bottom, you see structured optimization approach. Practically, this is to say that beyond the very well-known commitment-based discounts and usage optimization, you have a lot more. You have ways to optimize it by re-architecting your products. You have ways to optimize it even by managing technical debt, like upgrading software versions, where you can gain performance efficiency, and so on and so forth. So this is about the vision. And on the next slide, we're going to see how to implement this. So we know where we want to go. Now we need to see, okay, how we go there. So the first thing we did is actually lay out on this diagram you see in the background, what are the key components, what are the key capabilities of our FinOps ecosystem that we need to bring about. And the second question was, do we have something already that we can use to attack or deliver some of these components, something from the cloud provider, first of all. Then on the second layer, you can check if it's not available from the cloud provider, can I buy it from the market? And if it's not adequate, what you see, then you can consider building it and assess whether building it is worthwhile. So we went through this exercise, and I will highlight a couple of findings here. Obviously, it's simplified, but I would be happy to talk more about the details of this ecosystem in a different occasion. So taking, for example, the transversal box on the top right, you see things like global policies, managing the tagging. And we found that as our major footprint is in Azure, we found that the Azure policies or our PaaS tooling like OpenShift Policy Agent or using infrastructure as code can help us to achieve this day one tagging and keep a good quality. Going to the bottom right box, optimization. It has many facets, but again, looking at the cloud provider tooling, maybe not perfect, but it's usable from Azure, the advisor recommendations, and even the APIs where you can get insight into your VM utilization or your orphaned resources on different layers. And we happen to have ServiceNow for IT asset management, as well as demand management. And we found that in ServiceNow, there is VM scheduling functionality where your development and test boxes could be scheduled. So we are considering that instead of building something. Then actually we went to more challenging components as well, like the allocation on the top right, or some of the planning forecasting features roughly in the middle to the left, where we looked at market options, but we did not find them adequate. So eventually we evaluated what if we build our own data solution, leveraging our data mesh platform, build a data mesh node, and put a BI solution on top of it and work with it. And actually, I will in the next slide do a deep dive on the all location piece for you. And here I have actually a very good news, as Chris mentioned. This all location piece, main contributor is Mark Perot, but there are others as well in Amadeus. Is open source, so you can grab it, you can use it for your own advantage. And I explained to you in a nutshell what this does. So we can split actually our layers of complexity or infrastructure into four pieces here. On the bottom, you see the cloud infrastructure represented here by the Azure bill, and the little blue boxes are the billing rows from the Azure bill. These bills contain as well the tagging information. And obviously here we tag the first layer of services. So we have costs attached to, for example, OpenShift and Argos, which appear now on the second layer, the platform services. And this is fairly easy to allocate. But then the next layer is getting more challenging because you don't have tagging data from the cloud provider environment to work with. But in OpenShift's case, for example, we are extracting information from our monitoring tooling based on Prometheus, coming from the labels in OpenShift, which we can then use to do the cost allocation based on the CPU memory requests and so on and so forth. In Argos case, the Argos team is providing us data about the number of time series that the different teams are using for monitoring purposes in their platform. So we are interacting with these teams and also helping a lot in central FinOps to bring about additional allocation data. And we can make it to the next layer, to the business applications. Here I put as an example our customer management and flight management. This makes sure that you guys can board the aircraft and also that the plane can leave the runway. And in turn, these applications are and will be providing cost allocation keys to the final level, which is the product level, and has nothing to do now. You know, it's very far from the cloud infrastructure. It's more a marketing, it's more a business term that our BU speak. And this way we can bridge the gap from the bottom to the top. And imagine this gives possibilities from the top to drill down and understand your cost composition to the very bottom. So to show you what we can get from this, the next slide is showing a screenshot from our recent release of the system. I picked a view of a platform service here. So imagine Amadeus has database team who is serving in turn business applications like customer and flight management. And this is an engineering focused view. The database team can come here. They look at the middle darker blue box and they immediately see for the period selected, our cost was 135K. On the left side, actually you see where this 135K is coming together. On the top, you see the top light blue box, you see that the direct Azure consumption, you can imagine, you know, VM storage infrastructure directly consumed from Azure is 100K. On the bottom, you see other Amadeus services like the mentioned Argos monitoring, or even our FinOps services feeding into 35K to this cost. So this altogether is the Oracle cost, but it's not, you know, the reason why this cost exists, that we sell databases to customers. In turn, customer management, flight management has databases in Oracle. So this cost you see in the amount of 120K on the bottom right is going towards the customers themselves. You can notice there is a difference of 15K. So this is not yet all located. Obviously, this data is dummy, but this can happen, for example, if the all location is not perfect yet, or if the database team is deciding to invest into something specific which the customers didn't request, but for example, operationally relevant. And going further, there is possibility to drill down. And on the next slide, we drill down to the cost by consumer. So practically the bottom right box. One back, please. And this will show us, exactly, this will show us who are the customers of the Oracle database, how is the evolution over time, and you can slice and dice, for example, by the different environment, such as production or test environment. In reality, this is pretty interactive. I see JR is loving shuffling. It's okay. And you can slice and dice, and you can go even one level deeper. You can choose, for example, the Rev application on the next slide. You will see, if you drill down to that level, you see actually the meters appearing, certain instances of this Rev application like Dev3, Dev6, how much space they have used, how much storage quota they have in Oracle, and this in turn is translated to cost. So you can imagine the possibilities this way. And we have other views, executive views, business views, management views, finance, central FinOps to tailor for the individual personas. And this takes us actually to the wrap up. I think we can just summarize the key takeaways. Number one, use the language of your business. I think it's good to have technical talk, but to include everybody and make it easier, use the language of your business. That's what everybody can relate to. Number two, dare to aim high with your FinOps tooling expectations. And I would highlight here, two of the things I mentioned: owning your data, being able to mix it, being able to fast report on it is to me not a luxury, but more a baseline requirement. And I think some smart vendors probably should attack or will attack this area, not to prevent users from using and mixing their own data. Another example was the forecasting. So I think whether you build or buy things, it's interesting to put the expectations to what you need. And third point, talking about tool and ecosystem, it is not a tool to solve FinOps. We've seen it actually, it ties in very nicely to the data findings from the beginning and the previous presentation as well. It's not a tool we're talking about, it's an ecosystem. So all pieces, all gears in this ecosystem need to play together to get the benefit we want. So the question is not really to build or to buy. The question is really what to build and what to buy. And that actually wraps it up. So one more takeaway, which is really tangible for you, is the code. I hope it will be shared on the chat, and just go to the Git repo and enjoy.
Great work, folks. Thank you for that. Yeah, definitely also liked, as mentioned in the chat, the what to build and what to buy, because we are seeing a big ecosystem emerge around all the task capabilities and functions that are needed for FinOps. So JR here from the FinOps Foundation. Thank you for watching. Please go to FinOps.org if you want to get plugged into this amazing community. And of course, hit subscribe right here on YouTube to get all the future content. Hope to see you soon.